Good evening and welcome to News Channel 8. I'm Jerome Aegean, and here's some of the top stories we have for you tonight. The Virgin Islands Police Department reports a fatal shooting on St. Thomas. Fire burn bill clears committee, and your horse racing highlights. These stories and more are up next on News Channel 8. In our top story tonight, the Virgin Islands Police Department on St. Thomas reports a fatal shooting.
This is Rodney F. Garrett, Senior Police Chief, St. Thomas St. John, Watt Island District. On February 18, 2010, at about 8:49 a.m., police in St. Thomas responded to a call from an individual reporting that a friend had been shot in the Oswald Harris Court area and requested ambulance travel. Upon arrival, police learned that a female in her mid-20s was shot at least once to the upper body and was unresponsive. Emergency medical technicians on the scene determined that the victim had no vital signs. The victim was identified as 25-year-old St. Thomas native Kalelia Vanterpool. That's K-A-L-E-L-I-A Vanterpool. Officers from the Criminal Investigation Bureau, Major Crime, Richard Call Command Special Operations Bureau, and the K-9 unit, along with the Forensic Bureau officers and technicians, secured and processed the scene. Sidon Lake, 27 years of age, also a St. Thomas native, who was detained at the scene, has now been arrested and charged with possession of an unlicensed firearm with an obliterated serial number after it was determined that the firearm recovered on the scene, a .40 caliber Smith & Wesson, belonged to him. He was also charged with possession with intent to distribute marijuana after he was found in possession of 18 small baggies of what was field tested to be marijuana. Major crime and forensic detectives are continuing to investigate this matter.
If you have any information on this horrible crime, please call 1-800-222-TIPS or dial 911. And in other news, a follow-up on that fatal shooting of a 3-year-old on St. Thomas.
Police on Wednesday released the identity of the 3-year-old boy who reportedly fatally shot himself with a police officer's service weapon on Sunday. Virgin Islands Police Commissioner Novell Francis confirmed the name of the child is Ty Joseph, that's spelled T-H-A-I. Francis said the boy was the officer's stepson, not his son, as previously had been reported. But police and emergency medical technicians rushed to the Loveland apartment complex. And Sunday, a police officer called 911 to report the boy had shot himself inside their apartment. Arriving on the scene, the responders found the boy had suffered a gunshot wound to his upper body and died after gaining access to his father's firearm. Francis said firearm safety is a key element of training officers receive at the police academy. They're taught about handling of the weapon, the safety of the weapon, constitutionality of using the weapon, care and maintenance of the weapon, and also taken out of range to be trained to zero the weapon. Service firearm is not equipped, this is an interesting part here, is not equipped with a safety similar to what is done with civilian firearms. And that's the reason for that is that the police can respond quickly, pulling out of the holster and firing. Once again, the young boy's name identified as Ty Joseph, 3 years old. In St. Thomas, Lee Carl for News Channel 8.
There's a movement in the Virgin Islands to create a new holiday here, and it's just passed in the Rules Committee. Here's Terrence Positive Nelson's thoughts on this action.
I am happy to say to the public that the 28th legislature has passed a measure that will add Fire Burn Day, October 1st, also known as Contract Day, to our list of recognized Virgin Islands holidays. I'm proud of this moment. I'm proud that we have lifted or elevated our consciousness to recognize this day, which is deserving of reverence. It is a day which has marked the efforts of our ancestry to get better working conditions here for the then supposedly freed African. I've heard the concern by some of my colleagues about a cost to government. I want the public to rest assured that it is not a new cost. This cost that is being referred is what the salaries are for the individuals who will be off on that day. So it's not a new cost. It is a cost, however, which already is embedded in the overall cost of government. I do find, however, that the value of our consciousness, the value of our pride, way surpasses whatever the cost is. I've been told that the cost is some $2.2 million for that holiday. There are also other days, by the way, which can be considered for removing from those lists. I won't mention any of those days or suggest any at this point, but if in fact we're going to remove days, we can perhaps have a commission where this is done to a committee, and I'm happy that the committee members did not second that amendment, which was wanting to remove Transfer Day and insert Fireburn Day in its stead. I support Fireburn Day all the way, and I believe that this day being recognized as an official holiday here in the Virgin Islands is significant for us, and it is honoring the efforts of our ancestry. So it is a cost, yes, not a new cost, however, but it is an important cost to bear to ensure that we remember the efforts of our African ancestry who paved the way for us to be living in this free world, in this civil society. So I'm thankful for the committee members, the rule committee members, to have passed this on to the committee on the whole, and I'm hopeful that my colleagues in the 28th legislature see the significance and the importance of having such a day be a day of reverence here in the territory. I am happy to announce to the people of the Virgin Islands that the Committee for Positive Change, the committee to elect Senator Terrence Positive Nelson to Government House, will be holding our first public meeting. It will be tonight, yes, Thursday night. As you're watching this, you might want to come on out to Reading Rainbow. At 7 p.m. we will begin. You can come on out, hear my vision, hear my intention about my candidacy, hear my plans for the Virgin Islands, and you'll also be able to ask questions of me, the candidate, as to why I'm interested in running for governor, why now, and where I see the Virgin Islands in the next few years. My plan is not a 4-year or 8-year plan, but it's something that shows vision down the road. We have to prepare a place for our Virgin Islands to be able to live, and I want to do so. You're welcome to come on out to the meeting tonight, Committee for Positive Change. Yes, we're on the road. A number that you can reach if you're interested in being part of this Committee for Positive Change is 340-778-3448. Again, that number is 340-778-3448. Or you can contact us at committeeforpositivechange@gmail.com. That's committeeforpositivechange@gmail.com. We want you to help us bring about a better Virgin Islands. Now is the time.